Okay, so today we are here to talk about the whole of the loot boxes debate with Kaiser,
So,
Ziptie Warrior, and HugeMan.
Yeah,
Ziptie Warrior is pro loot boxes and was quite upset that other YouTubers wouldn't debate him when the whole loot box thing was happening. Kaiser is very 50-50, and HugeMan is definitely against them, and I am just here. Would Ziptie Warrior like to start this whole thing by opening as to what good loot boxes are or why they should stay and stuff?
First of all, I think loot boxes, I personally enjoy them. The mechanic system involved allows people who, for Hearthstone, for example, can get a lot of cards without actually paying for it. And it's developed in a way to the people who are paying for items like Hearthstone packs, they aren't buying certain items, like certain cards. So even a person who's purchasing them, there's no way they can gain a greater advantage for the amount of money they spend. So it's kind of like a way to equalize a purchasing power of somebody who's willing to spend money on microtransactions compared to somebody who isn't.
But wouldn't there be like objectively better cards into the mix that you would definitely want to get?
Right, but there's no guarantee by purchasing cards over earning them that you get those.
Yeah, but like somebody that got really, really lucky could just beat you.
Okay, but we have to look at what the agency of the player is. For example, if I were to purchase Hearthstone cards, or we could look at Battlefront 2, if I were to purchase something, generally I would be looking for a certain build or a certain card dynamic. And unfortunately, as of the random nature of purchases, I'm not going to be able to get that within spending, let's say, $20 to get an overpowered build. Rather, that $20 really just gets me 8 hours of gameplay compared to somebody who's willing to put in the time.
My brain's processing. Kaiser, would you like to put a stance out on your stance?
well, I'm not really familiar with like the Hearthstone mechanic of like loot boxes, but like the thing is, if you have like a game, right, and you have that you pay and you get like a random chance of literally like getting like if you talk about for example, turning Dutch there, um, Battlefront 2, you literally pay money, or that was like originally the plan. They changed that, but like um and then you literally just get like a stat where you do more damage, which just doesn't make it's just kind of a that's really a problem from in my opinion.
Are you saying that the player who purchases money guarantees to get an advantage?
Well, it doesn't guarantee. Well, I mean, with Battlefront 2, you like always get like stuff in the box, but like usually you get like the bad stuff. But as long the more you pay, the higher the chance is that you get like better stuff.
What do you mean by that?
So the way Battlefront 2 did was originally like planning on like working, as far as I know, is that you just buy the loot box, and then you get like these cards, and it's like, oh, it does like five. For example, this gadget does like 5% more damage, or it could all go all the way up to like 20% more damage when you.
Okay,
So
but the person who purchases more than the person who purchases less, do they gain more of an advantage than the person who purchases less?
they do not really well, I mean, they get more of a chance to get a better
Things are
chance.
equal. If all things are equal, if everything else that can be identified as equal in this situation, does the person who pay more get more than the person who pays less?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if every time if we opened up the same packs and you bought 5 packs and I bought 10 packs and our first 5 packs were identical and then I got an additional 5 packs to open up which are a different degree of cards, clearly I bought more than you. Unlike a gambling situation where you can walk in, place one bet, and take more than what anybody prior has done over the course
how
of the
loot
whole
boxes work
night.
though. They don't give you just identical packs.
Yeah,
They
Right.
they
that's the
work in the
problem
same
with it.
system.
Right, but you're unlike like let's say a lottery, you're not betting against those other players. The fact that I get a epic card, which gives me an advantage, doesn't necessarily harm you for the fact that you get a rare. We're not all coming from the same pool. It's not like there's 52 cards and we're dishing out 10 and you get this and I get that and that's who wins.
Yeah, but what if I get an epic card and I never get an epic card and I continue spending in order to get an epic card, or else I'm at disadvantage against you?
I love this example too, because have we all played Hearthstone here? Because it's my favorite
No.
example. Okay. Wow. That sucks. Okay.
I played
I
it
just want to
once.
I just want to
Once.
break down how it works. It's generally a Magic the Gathering type trading card game where you have cards with stats. They have mana they cost, they have the damage they do, and they have the health they have, and sometimes an additional stat. Those combinations pretty much make up the card's value in a lot of situations. Now, if we were to buy the same pack, and let's say we get the same pack, me and you, right? We get the identical pack, but you get a legendary that you're super excited about, but I get a legendary for a warlock class that I don't play. I'm not excited about it. If we can create a situation where the exact same rewards don't produce the exact same outcomes for the player, I don't know how we can interpret value.
Wait, exact same rewards and exact what?
Loot boxes don't work with the same rewards. That's the whole point.
No,
of
no, this is a
loot boxes.
hypothetical though. This is just showing the absurdity of the argument here. If we
Well,
do
it's
get the
avoiding-
exact,
It's avoiding a key part of loot boxes is the randomness.
well, we can get to the randomness too. That's a feature that I said I enjoy. So the fact that you're trying to take randomness out of a game, which most games pretty much are skill and random combined, I don't understand why we're trying to do this, unless you're trying to say that these rewards have value, and then that's a different conversation. But the fact is, just the reward base being random nature, I think is an intrinsic value to the gaming community, because I don't have to, or for example, I did buy Hearthstone packs. I enjoy supporting Hearthstone. Every adventure they come out, I purchase it, and every once in a while I'll throw them a few bucks if I haven't purchased anything in a while. Generally, all the gold I get is from playing the game. I have a friend who doesn't spend a dime on Hearthstone and has cards that just destroy me. It's not even fair when he brings out his dragon deck and he's like, "Oh, I just unlocked this." He hasn't spent any money, yet he is at a certain position because of the random nature of the reward-based system. And I don't want to compromise that in any way, because some people think that the value intrinsic within those cards are anything more than what they are.
Well, basically, what we've just said there is that because of the random nature of it, he's got a better deck than you, which sort of that doesn't, like, if you put grind into a game, and it removes a grind for the game. So it just, the random nature of it, it removes the sort of.
Are you trying to critique how? Are you trying to critique like how games should be made, or the fundamental nature of what should be in a game? Because like it sounds like you're arguing for the grind, where I'm arguing that I like people who could, excuse me, just join the game tomorrow, work for a week, and still have accomplished something similar to what somebody who's spent $40 could.
Well, let's.
What I'm saying is, luck shouldn't be a part of progressing in a game. There's just pure RNG things based on what you can get shouldn't be based on luck.
Okay, can we like imagine two card games, two like separate card games, okay? In one game, you have access to every card, meaning the only part of it is you doing the strategy bit in your deck construction. In the other game, you have to pay to get a random card from a pool, which is how a lot of these cards work, therefore luck comes in. Wouldn't you really want to play the game where you can just build decks?
I would probably argue yes and no. Yes, because that sounds like an interesting game to play, where all the cards are available for everyone to determine their best outcomes. And no, because I think we've already have experiences of that, of many games being released in that nature, especially after Hearthstone was released, and they didn't do well. So I'm going to leave it up to the free market to decide, and not be some patriot for how I design, or I want games designed, right? I'm going to let maybe Riot Games come out with a card game similar to Hearthstone, and maybe that's how they want to release their game, and they'll be more profitable, and people will see that's the way to make games. I don't want to, armchair sideline call how the market. I'm very pro capitalism, by the way. Like, I think the consumers have the right to decide what they want.
Huge. You were anti loot boxes, right?
I was anti.
Wanna do a statement?
So I think loot boxes are designed off a casino method, and they should be regulated as such.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by casino method? I don't mean to interrupt you, but you say something and it makes me go like, what does that mean?
Well, it means they're designed to simulate what the experience of what a casino can give you, but inside a virtual game.
Okay, I do realize we're going into something like behaviorism and things of that nature, because what you're doing is you're trying to assimilate the things that win in a casino. Just like I said earlier, I like the free market. Let's say we have a casino that doesn't have the thrill, lights spinning, all that, and we have a casino that does. People choose to go to the casino with the flashing lights. That just means the flashing lights are beneficial. We can't be upset at anything that uses flashing lights or spinning wheels inside of their games, because they know that's what's beneficial to their consumers. That's what their consumers want. I believe right now you're arguing against the market, not necessarily
So
gambling
what
mechanics.
I'm arguing is are you for under 18s being able to go into casinos?
Into casinos? No, probably not. I don't think kids should
So
be able to gamble without their parents' permission. I think the
what
parents should be able to have full, autonomy over their children like that.
what's the difference between a loot box and a casino, which makes it really different for you? Where kids should be able to use a loot box, but not a casino?
Okay, to better explain your positioning, I think I should be able to take my kid into a casino and explain to him what this game is, these are the rules of this game. This game's designed this way to take your money this way. Hey, these cards are working this way. I think I should be able to do that with my 11-year-old son. Now, that is a possibility for me to control my son's environment. He's not out there doing something outside my control. And the same thing happens with these loot boxes. My son is not out there purchasing loot boxes unless he's stealing my credit card. Then that would be something else, but then we'd have to go after every other product he'd steal my credit card for. But he is purchasing, and he doesn't purchase loot box, by the way. But if he did, he would have to come to me. We would have to work on some sort of agreement, and that would give me a parenting opportunity that I feel like you're trying to take away. We're trying to protect kids from, like, just as a side note right here, we're trying to protect kids from gambling, right? Well, remember whenever we tried to protect kids from sex and we didn't tell them anything about it, and they ended up having a whole bunch of teen pregnancies? And now that we look at the studies after showing kids, sex education and making sure that's a part of their education, teen pregnancies down. In this same situation, we're trying to remove all aspects of gambling. Right now, a whole bunch of conversations has been brought up about the gambling fallacy. So many, I can't even think of them right now, but so many conversations should have been had about mechanics that work in the system that we could prevent ourselves with knowledge. But now we're trying to just prevent that knowledge to children. And I just don't want to limit that experience for parents not to be able to have that engagement.
That's all good. Could you answer my question on what's the difference for you between a loot box and a casino?
Loot boxes, I don't believe have all the considerations of gambling, which I believe, I haven't looked at it in a while. Gambling has three parts of it: chance, prize, and consideration. Unfortunately, loot boxes don't meet that criteria because there's no chance involved. So they don't actually have chance. So they're not gambling in that aspect. Plus, my son can't walk down to the casino or some Jimmy, trying to play dice at the local speedway or whatever and take advantage of my son because he's entering into a gambling contract, right? This is taking place in my house where I have ultimate control over it, where I can set parental controls on my Xbox. I could talk to my son about the situations, or I could even, parent and some sort of disciplinary action if he does something beyond the thing. My daughter is a Roblox freak, right? Always come to me, hey, Dad, got some Roblox? Hey, Dad. No, you get some on Christmas and your birthday. Shut the hell up. Go away. I can parent. I don't need the government to step in and do my job.
It's good about casinos, though. You can just go, oh, we know as a parent, it's fine.
Well, I don't think there's anything intrinsically wrong with gambling. I think the problem is when people are taking advantage of children who were gambling. That was the issue. It wasn't kids walking into casinos and gambling. It was Jimmy entering into a contract with little Frank, your son, as you send him to get milk. Now he's has to do something horrible for little Jimmy because he lost some dice rolls. No, that's the situation I'm trying to prevent. I don't think my son's in any danger using loot boxes. It's not a casino. There's a contract whenever he enters into the casino that could be beyond what he's able to enter into. That does not exist within loot boxes.
You mentioned earlier about there's no chance in loot boxes. Can you define what you meant by chance?
Well, in any sort of well, let me ask you just let me rephrase this situation back at you. Can you name any gambling which in two parties gamble that one of them doesn't experience a chance of loss?
No,
In loot boxes, I can.
go on.
But if you get a thing from a loot box that is completely worthless to you, is that not a loss?
I don't believe there's such thing as completely worthless to you.
Okay,
Well, I mean, you
in a
can really-
game, let's say that a completely worthless is an item that you already own that you couldn't get rid of or use again.
Okay, so we're setting the hypothetical up where there's no disenchanting of the item, there's no recourse to use the item, right?
Yeah, I know that some games work like that, so let's just
Can I
take
get an
a
example? Out of curiosity, because I've never actually seen one look like that.
I don't
Which one's-
know! My brain doesn't work on like that.
Well, I
Remember
play a
the
lot of
tracks?
I play a
They
lot of
give
mobile
you
games.
cuts where they give you a little bit of renown back, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so that's perfect right there. That's what I wanted to hear because that's the crux. That's a crux of this argument. Once again, in Hearthstone, it's a perfect example. It's the most popular card game played, right, guys? It's played by over like 25 million people. So that's why I use this example. In Hearthstone, you have commons, rares, epics, legendaries. I believe there might be one. I forget. But each one disenchants for a certain amount of dust, and then with inside your pack, you're guaranteed to get at least one rare. Sometimes you can get 3 legendaries. I've seen shit. Excuse me.
But
I've
you're
seen a whole
taking-
bunch. Hold on. Excuse. I just want to finish.
Yeah.
So whenever you can disenchant all those down, at a bare minimum, you're getting 4 common dust and you're getting 1 rare by minimum. So the player who enters into a contract to purchase that loot box knows that is the minimum they're going to get for their purchase. So you can't tell me they don't know what they are getting.
You're taking a very good example of loot boxes done not very good and using that as the main example for what loot boxes are. Loot boxes are not always like that.
That's why I asked you to show me. I need to be able to see how that exists before I critique a system that I actually have never seen done that way. And I'm sure there's probably some. And I would say that the consumer should know not to enter into a contract where they could receive duplicates. Right, like my child goes to the store, right? I send him, oh, you can get any toy you want. They decide to buy a toy that has a random nature to it, like many toys do. Certain mystery boxes. They come home, they know that there's a chance that they may get that same toy. He goes to McDonald's, orders a Happy Meal. He may decide that he's ordering that Happy Meal based on the justification that it has a toy inside. He gets a duplicate toy. That was the chance he took when he ordered that meal.
I just googled how to deal with duplicate untradables, and I think I arrived at a post about FIFA and they were like, sell it for 0 coins, my friend. So I think in FIFA you can actually get duplicate players that are untradable, and like the only way to get rid of them is to sell them for nothing back at the game.
To be fair, also FIFA's probably like the worst offender in my opinion about like random
FIFA's
chance
bad.
loot boxes.
I know
Listen.
some kid in my school fucking spent like thousands of dollars on it, thousands of pounds. It's fucking sad.
Yeah, but
Now hold on. I just asked curiosity because I'm looking up on that. It says that it's duplicate untradable. Does that mean that these cards have certain value and whenever you get them, you can't trade them?
Some cards you'll get in FIFA are tradable. Some cards you'll get in FIFA aren't tradable. So some of them, if you get like a bad card, you can trade them out. But then some of them, you'll be locked in with it, so you can't get rid of it.
You always gain something that you didn't have before at the time of purchase, or is there a chance that you may get something that has 0 use to you, like was prescribed in the situation?
well, it's duplicate, so you already had it. Like yeah, with FIFA you get like this character, right? And you can like play as him, or like he's like in your soccer team. But then if you like get him again, you can't use him. You can only use like practically like the original you had, and it's the exact
you-
same one.
Zip,
And you
sorry, can I
don't-
ask you a question?
What? Yeah, sir.
Yeah, okay, so let's say you went to like a raffle, and you pay £10 for an entry ticket, but you get a prize which is worth £5. Using your logic, is that still a loss, or did you get something you didn't get before?
I would say that that's a loss, and you can gamble and have a loss. And the reason that is gambling is because you're betting against other people with inside that raffle.
Okay, so what about if you use that logic with a slot machine, where you're playing against-
Unfortunately, whenever you do a slot machine, it's only you against the casino, and both of you have a full chance of loss.
So is that yes or no?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
So right, okay. If you were to go enter into a slot machine, you put £10 in and you got £5 back, or an item which is worth £5. Is that a loss or is that a win because you got something which you didn't already have?
Oh, that is definitely a loss in the mathematical sense, and that's definitely gambling because you risked you satisfied all three natures of gambling: the prize, chance, and consideration. All three of those have been checked,
So
and that's okay.
now if you were to buy a loot box, you spend £10 for a pack, and you get an item which is not worth very much, worth less than £10.
Okay.
Is that a loss or is that getting something you haven't already got?
Well, here's the thing: is I don't know. I don't. If you're telling me that the total chance of the situation, and I'm trying to keep this within the FIFA perspective, how much are each of those cards worth? What is their value, right? And how is okay? But better way to determine this is how do you determine value?
What they're worth, like
How is that determined?
how much people would be willing to buy them for, and how much people would be willing to sell them for.
I love you. I love you because that's the correct answer. And then until there's a transaction for one item for a cost, you can't determine that worth. And a better thing is who has the ultimate right to determine the value of property?
No one no one creates the value for it. It creates itself by what
No,
people are willing to buy and sell it for.
unfortunately, until the Jim Sterlings of the world take over, people still have property rights. And until you take away those property rights, that property owner has the ultimate determination to set the value of the goods sold. And only the consumer can agree to purchase it for that price. Now, they may choose to not purchase it, and as it, may just make in a way I say may help the seller decide to lower the price. But if there's a purchase for that, then that is what the transaction is. So whenever you tell me that it's a loss, I have a hard time determining that it's a loss, figuring you just paid what you paid for it. Unlike a
Okay.
gambling situation where you
Wait.
clearly lost.
So if someone were to find something like a really really old artwork and never buy or sell it, does that have zero value, or is that
It's priceless.
But then using that logic, wouldn't all cards in the game be priceless?
Oh, that's very interesting. What did you and the agreeer sell to purchase them for?
No, you can't buy and sell them. That's the thing.
So they're worthless, not priceless, worthless. If you can't, unlike that photo or that picture that you had that you didn't want to sell, you could still sell that. That makes that priceless. The fact that you couldn't sell that thing, let's say it was trapped in the bottom of the ocean and you knew where it was, but no one else could possibly get to it, that makes it worthless.
Okay, in that case, in your opinion, should the bottom tier of whatever you can get out of a loot box be worth the asking price of the loot box? And if the customer doesn't agree with that, they shouldn't buy it.
That is a very acceptable situation, especially in put into the perspective like Hearthstone. You know you're going to get 4 commons and 1 rare at a minimum. You know what those dusts equate to. If they are duplicate, you know the value. I don't think any lawyer would have any hard time arguing against the objective value of what a Hearthstone card is worth.
Again, you're taking a very good value, like a very good example of a loot box not being done poorly.
I hate soccer, but oh my god, I might go out and buy this game just to be able to play it and see what these loot boxes are like. Because if this is the only bad example we have, is that sometimes you can get duplicates and you can't trade it.
More than that. There's loads of games have stuff like that. Battlefield 1 had it. Halo 5 had it. I know Rainbow Six Siege has got it.
Just can't imagine a system where the developer would not increase your power level some degree in some situation if you purchase something.
Well, a lot of them are just done on cosmetics. That's quite like what a lot of them are done. Not like quite a few games will just do it purely off cosmetic stuff. So it's like, okay. So whereas games would have a grind system where you can progress to get armor and stuff, they'll go, you can either grind quite a few hours to get 1 loot box, or here pay £5 and we'll give you like 10,
You
and you
see,
can open them, and
even
then it's RNG whether you get the piece you want.
even from a
Whereas you could grind for it to get the piece you want.
That's the issue. I'm sorry, I'll let you go ahead.
even from the cosmetic point of view, I'm actually kind of really hating loot boxes in a lot of times because I played Elder Scrolls Online, okay? And you could buy like the most basic shit off the store. Like, it didn't even look good. And what the game gave you also didn't look good. The only thing that looked good was in the loot box, and I just refused to fork out money in order to try to get a thing like 1 out of 80 chance. Despite the fact that you could actually recycle items and eventually get the looking good thing, but people calculated that the good looking thing would cost you like $400 if you didn't get lucky.
I'm sure in the worst case scenario that $400 might be what you need to get that. They did that the same thing with Battlefield, like whenever that came out, or Battlefront, excuse me. That necessarily isn't a bad thing. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not about to tell a company how they can do their structure. What I need to do is rely on you to be a good consumer, a pro consumer, and do the correct things by not rewarding that sort of behavior. I work inside this capitalist free market. I don't buy loot boxes. I take that back. This F1 game for mobile, I've been getting into F1 lately. I really enjoy the races. I downloaded the F1 game. I tried just little mobile game, and I play it outside when I'm watching my kids swim. So the entire time I spent maybe $11, and I got like Ryakin, who's a really not really good driver, but I feel like my purchases were justified, and I know that any more purchases probably won't be justified because I've gotten my use out of the game, and I'm not going back to it as often as I have. That's what I choose as a consumer. I just can't believe anybody's trying to take this choice away. And sorry, just to readdress your argument as far as the gambling, this is not gambling because you can't cash out. And the fact that you can't cash out deliberately puts a worthless price on it that you almost know. If you know that you can buy 5 items, you get a loot box from FIFA or whatever, and it could have 5 duplicate rare super people that are untradeable because you already have the game. As far as I care, that's a good thing because all those people who are buying loot boxes or maybe earning them behind you, they're catching up to you. I'm tired of the people who already have everything getting more. I'm not excited about that. So once again, that's a reason why I'm excited about the loot box system, because I believe it's a more fairer way randomly of rewarding everybody within the system and not allowing people just to purchase what they want, spend the $12 to look this way, spend the $4 to make my weapon that way. Oh, I'm done purchasing. I'm sorry. I understand how Elder Scrolls Online wants to make money with their product, and I'm not going to fault them for trying to do that.
Okay, I think it's about time we start wrapping up. So did everyone have their say, or did anyone have anything to add whatsoever?
I could go on about this forever, and I'm not trying to be argumentative here. I really enjoy talking to all of you. This is just crazy that these are just simple, like, logical steps to provide one thing into the other. And anybody wanting to discuss this further, message me at any time.
No, I mean, I love hearing opinions, so this was quite nice because nobody was shouting at each other or anything. But yeah, thank you all for coming. This video will be on YouTube tomorrow, and Mirta will figure out who talked at what point and put out signs in the video so that people can see. And yeah, YouTube, toodaloo.